afternoon and welcome to the virtual public hearing of the Commission on Judicial Appointments. As Chief Justice of California, I serve as Chair of the Commission. The other members of the Commission are Attorney General Rob Bonta and Presiding Justice Arthur Gilbert. Janelle Baker serves as Secretary to the Commission. This hearing is to consider Governor Gavin Newsom's appointment of Judge Tamzarian to the Office of Associate Justice for the Second District Court of Appeal, Division 4. The Commission is in receipt of a letter from Governor Newsom appointing Judge Tamzarian to fill a vacancy created by the very recent elevation of Presiding Justice Helen Zukin. The state constitution specifies that an appointment by the governor to the Court of Appeal is effective when confirmed by the Commission on Judicial Appointments. We received correspondence pertaining to this appointment and made these letters available to the press and to the public a few days ago. Pursuant to a request by Governor Newsom, the State Bar's Commission on Judicial Nominees Evaluation has undertaken an evaluation of the qualifications of Judge Tamzarian for this position. Ms. Lorena Peñalosa, Chair of the Jenny Commission, is with us here today to share the results of that evaluation later in these proceedings. Judge Tamzarian has asked that the following persons be called to testify on his behalf. I will list all of you now and then call on each speaker separately to come to the podium. There are two speakers. First, the Honorable Carl Moore, Associate Justice of the Second District Court of Appeal, Division 5. And second, we are welcoming Ms. Sharon Perlmutter, retired research attorney of the Second District Court of Appeal. The Commission now invites Justice Moore to the podium.
Good afternoon, Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, and Presiding Justice Gilbert. If you were a busy family law lawyer in Los Angeles during the period from 2014 to 2018, it was not unusual to have 2 or 3 matters scheduled in front of different family law judges on the same day at the same time. So you'd have to run around the Stanley Mosque courthouse and check in at multiple departments and figure out how to persuade one judge that you really needed to appear first before a different judge. I was one of those family law judges in Mosque during those years, as was Judge Tamzarian. I quickly learned that the most persuasive argument an overbooked lawyer could make to me to get permission to go to another courtroom was the simple statement, "Your Honor, I have an appearance before Judge Tamzarian." When I heard that, without exception, I'd say, well, you better go there first. I was not alone in making this my practice because all of Judge Tamzarian's colleagues on the bench understood that he ran the most reliable, sensibly organized, and efficient calendar in the division. I knew, and many of my fellow family law judges knew, that if we kept a particular lawyer in our courtroom waiting, or let him or her go to any number of the other family law courtrooms first, there was a significant risk that the lawyer might get trapped in the chaos of an overburdened morning or afternoon calendar and have trouble making both appearances. But there was no such risk when you let a lawyer leave to start first with Judge Tamzarian. He would get his matter done and the lawyer back to you. Judge Tamzarian was the gold standard for courtroom efficiency. I was able to observe him for several years in family law and then serve with him when he served as a Justice Pro Tem in Division 5 on the Court of Appeal with me. Judge Tamzarian's well-recognized efficiency alone is not what makes him an excellent judge. He is an excellent judge because he is unusually well-versed in California law. This should come as no surprise when you reflect on his experience, which includes working as a research attorney in the Superior Court, followed by over a decade as a practicing attorney in a civil litigation firm, then more than 5 years as an appellate research attorney here at the Second District Court of Appeal, and then 11 years as a trial judge in family, civil trial, and independent calendar departments. Judge Tamzarian is an excellent judge because he has a tremendous work ethic. He is an excellent judge because he is excited by the work, and he likes wrestling with difficult legal and factual issues. And he is an excellent judge because he is a thoughtful, empathetic, humble, and kind person, and he brings those qualities to the bench. I wanted to close with one final thought. It's an incredible privilege and an awesome responsibility to be a member of this court. What I appreciate most about Judge Tamzarian is he understands this as much, if not more, than anyone I have ever worked with. I'm a native Chicagoan, and as such, I am not very good at the Boston accent. But if I can approximate it, Judge Tamzarian once told me that before making the trek from Massachusetts to California in his early 20s, he was simply known as Armen. Ironically, we both arrived as transplants to Southern California in the same month, September 1988. Not knowing where life would lead us, each of us proceeded to make this amazing, diverse, and dynamic city our home. This city, this county, and this state embrace transplants who come here to build a life. And it is incumbent on those of us who have benefited from that embrace to devote ourselves to making life better for others. There are few places better to do that than working in the California courts. That commitment to giving back to this community and this state, that commitment to public service is what brought Judge Tamzarian to where he is today. Governor Newsom has made a wise choice to appoint him to the 2nd District, where he will serve this community and this state faithfully for years to come. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Justice Moore. I don't have any questions, but I want to thank you for your remarks, especially from your time together in family court, and for your commitment to public service as well. We next invite to the podium Ms. Perlmutter.
There we go. Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, Presiding Justice Gilbert. I'm here this afternoon to say, I told you so. Well, not you, personally. The Jenny Commission. About 12 years ago, when Judge Tamzarian, then just my friend and colleague, Armen, was applying to the Superior Court bench, I predicted that we would end up here. We were research attorneys together here in the 2nd District. At that time, research attorney to Superior Court judge was not a viable career path. I'd filled out Jenny forms for many colleagues, only to see their applications languish. I knew it would take an extraordinary candidate to break through and get appointed. Armen was that extraordinary candidate. So when I received the Jenny form for him, I took out my favorite pen. Research attorneys are the sort of people who have favorite pens, and started explaining. On a purely selfish basis, I didn't really want to lose Armen as a colleague. I worked for Justice Kroski while Armen worked for Justice Kitching. At that time, Division III was fairly unusual in how much the justices encouraged the research attorneys to participate in calendar conferences and give input on opinions originating in other chambers. Because of this, Armen and I worked together a lot. At times, it felt like we were diplomats negotiating a treaty. We each knew the result our respective bosses wanted to reach, and we were directed to hash out the details. Armen would come into my office with the current draft, and we would fight it out, sometimes paragraph by paragraph, sometimes even word by word. Justice Kitching won't go for that footnote, he would say. We like the footnote, I responded. Counsel misquotes a case, he deserves to be called out. But let's see if we could soften it. And then the two of us would discuss precisely how much judicial displeasure should be directed at counsel until we reached an agreement that would satisfy us and our justices. And when I got that Jenny form, I thought that the Jenny Commission didn't really care how much I enjoy arguing things out with Armen. But they should know, I thought, that appointing Armen to the Superior Court would be a loss not just to my personal office experience, but to the Court of Appeal itself. Armen was smart and just good at the job. I'd been at the court for over a decade by the time he joined, and it was immediately apparent that he was among the top ranks of my colleagues. He knew the law, he knew how to find what needed to be found, how to craft the arguments that needed to be crafted. But there was something more. He cared. I used to joke that being a research attorney was the best job ever because we got to work on juicy, cutting-edge legal issues without the unfortunate distraction of clients. My job was to find the right answer, not the answer my client was paying me to find. But Armen was always aware that there were real live human beings at issue in every case that came before our court. Armen came to this country as a child who didn't know English. His father had $100 in his pocket. Armen's experience isn't just one of overcoming obstacles, but one of knowing what it is to be an outsider, someone who doesn't have all the advantages that many of us sometimes take for granted. And he brought that perspective to his job, looking out for the little guy, making sure someone wasn't adrift in the system because of poverty, and considering the possibility that counsel might have miscited that case out of ignorance and not malice. Losing a research attorney like that, I explained to Jenny, wouldn't just be a loss to me, but to Division III itself. But, I went on to say, this was an acceptable loss because Armen's appointment to the Superior Court was a necessary step toward his inevitable elevation to Associate Justice at the Court of Appeal. There was no doubt in my mind that we would end up at this hearing, and the sooner he went to the Superior Court, the sooner he'd come back to the Court of Appeal and get down to doing the job that he was meant to do. Between you and me and the record, there are probably lots of research attorneys who have the brainpower to write cases unsupervised at the Court of Appeal. But Armen has a judicial temperament. I'm not even sure I knew what that was until I saw it in him. An easy respect for colleagues as well as those above and below him in the office hierarchy, an endless patience, and a realization that the moment will pass and what we're doing, if we do it right, will last for the ages. After Armen, then Judge Tamzarian, had been on the Superior Court bench for a number of years, he and I together taught a class at Southwestern, Appellate Process and Brief Writing for the night school students. We didn't do it for the money. I taught the class because I love teaching persuasive writing. Co-adjunct Professor Tamzarian was teaching for a different reason, to give back, not just to his alma mater, but to the community. These students all had day jobs or family responsibilities. Nobody goes to law school at night on a trust fund. Armen didn't just teach them when to object to preserve the record and when to let it go. He showed them that a real live Superior Court judge was willing to take time out of his busy schedule to give them insider courtroom tips because he believed in them. I have since retired from teaching and from the court. I've gone inactive with the bar. This is probably the last time I will do or say anything on an official record, and I'm absolutely delighted to use this moment to wholeheartedly support Judge Tamzarian's nomination today and to say that I was right.
You were right. Thank you, Ms. Perlmutter, for your foresight and for also talking to us a little bit about the important work that you all did as research attorneys. It's so critical to the work of the court, so thank you. The commission now invites the chair of the Judicial Nominees Evaluation Commission, Ms. Lorena Peñalosa, for the report of their commission.
Thank you so much. I'm really enjoying this, but I'm realizing that it's really hard to follow these speeches that are so good in speaking about the candidates here today. Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, Presiding Justice Gilbert. I am honored to present this report on behalf of the Commission on Judicial Nominees Evaluation to summarize the basis of the Commission's rating of Judge Armen Tamzarian for the Office of Associate Justice of the Court of Appeal, Second Appellate District, Division 4. The Jenny Commission conducted its evaluation of Judge Armen Tamzarian in December 2024, unanimously finding him to be exceptionally well qualified for service on the Second District Court of Appeal. According to Commission rules, that rating reflects the Commission's determination that Judge Tamzarian possesses qualities and attributes of remarkable or extraordinary superiority that enable him to perform the appellate judicial function with distinction and is exceptionally well qualified for the appellate court. As the son of working-class Armenian immigrants, Judge Tamzarian's childhood shaped his perspectives and life. He vividly recalls the discrimination and bigotry his family faced in a small Massachusetts town. Growing up, he worked in his father's grocery store and with his mother visited the local library weekly, where she marveled at the free books. From the time he was 12 years old, the candidate held various jobs, including as a newspaper delivery person, gardener, and as a roofer. He credits his parents for instilling in him the values of hard work, perseverance, and the importance of education. Judge Tamzarian worked full-time throughout college and his law school night program at Southwestern Law School. Although he did not know any lawyers growing up, his relentless work ethic and academic curiosity eventually led him to law school. He began his legal career in 1996 as a research attorney for law and motion judges with the Los Angeles County Superior Court, where he primarily worked on civil cases, preparing memorandum and proposed orders. After a year and a half in that role, he joined Case Knowlson, Jordan and Wright, LLP, as a litigation associate and later became a partner. There, he represented a wide range of clients, including individuals, businesses, and nonprofits in various civil matters in state and federal courts. After over a decade with Case Knowlson, Judge Tamzarian joined the California Court of Appeal, where he served as the lead attorney for Associate Justice Patty S. Kitching in the Second Appellate District, Division III, from 2008 until 2013. He relished his time with the Court of Appeal, appreciating how it afforded him more dedicated time for in-depth research and writing, activities he greatly valued. In 2013, Judge Tamzarian was appointed to serve as judge on the Los Angeles County Superior Court. For 5 years, he served in the Family Law Division, presiding over all phases and aspects of cases. He was transferred to a trial department in the Civil Division in 2018, where he has presided over jury and bench trials in personal injury, asbestos, unlawful detainer, breach of contract, and intentional tort cases, among other substantive areas. Most recently, the candidate authored 4 opinions while serving on a pro tem assignment to the Court of Appeal Division 5. He described the experience as a joyful, quote, intellectual feast. Judge Tamzarian is a highly intelligent, experienced, and dedicated judge who is praised from the bench, the bar, and court staff for his tireless work ethic, commitment to justice, and legal acumen. He exhibits humility and expresses deep gratitude for his role on the bench, where he excels and finds fulfillment. A unique personal detail about Judge Tamzarian involves a connection to the television show The Simpsons. One of the show's writers, who knows Judge Tamzarian, incorporated his name into the backstory of the character Principal Skinner in an episode entitled The Principal and the Pauper. The association has followed him over the years and still comes up in various settings, from airport security to his Los Angeles courtroom, where jurors and others occasionally ask about the connection. As Jenny Commission Chair, it is my honor and privilege to appear at the confirmation hearing of Armen Tamzarian to testify as to the Commission's evaluation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the thorough work of the Commission and for your very helpful report here today. We now invite Judge Tamzarian to present a statement if you wish and to answer any questions the Commission may have.
Good afternoon, Chief Justice Guerrero, Presiding Justice Gilbert, and Attorney General Bonta. I will submit on the written and oral statements in favor of my nomination. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Attorney General Bonta.
Thank you for the opportunity to be part of today's hearing. Judge Tamzarian, what are you looking forward to most about being an Associate Justice, and what do you think would be the biggest challenges?
That's a good question. I think the biggest difference between the Superior Court and the Court of Appeal is at the Court of Appeal, you have the luxury of time to really think about cases. There were so many times as a Superior Court judge, I thought to myself, I wish I had just a few more hours to research, to think about it, to talk to a colleague, maybe to sleep on it overnight. And there were many times where I thought, well, maybe I'm 90% sure I'm right, but I just have to move on. And if appointed, I look forward to the luxury of being able to do my very best to get it right. I think that's the biggest difference. Do I answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Presiding Justice Gilbert.
Hi there. Didn't we pass in the hallway on occasion when I could visit down here? So you were a research attorney.
Yes.
And now you're going to be the justice overseeing other research attorneys. Should they be worried?
No, I think it's a wonderful job. When I left my law firm and started here at the Court of Appeal, the clouds parted for me. I just couldn't believe what I'd been missing. I learned something about myself, and that is I love the law, but I don't necessarily like being an advocate. much more well-suited to be a neutral. And there's no one that appreciates the work of research attorneys more than I do. They're all here today. I've already met them, and I'm thrilled to be working with them, and I've heard wonderful things about them, and I'm really excited to get going.
But what I'm really encouraged about, when I was reading over your application, is that you're in favor of writing clear, succinct, well-organized opinions. You've got your work cut out for you, I must say. Sometime, but what do you think about I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but the current fare, some of the opinions you've seen? You don't have to discuss, just in general terms. It doesn't have to be limited to the state of California.
Yeah, well, I think it's easier said than done to write succinct opinions. I think of when I was in the middle of a trial and somebody gives me a brief and there's a complicated legal issue and I have 20 minutes to look at it. I want to think of that judge when writing opinions. But it's a balance. I mean, the advantage of a longer opinion is you really do the proof, the math. You make sure you get it right, and you make the parties feel like they really were heard by addressing all the issues. I think, though, succinct is almost always better. It's just more user-friendly for judges, for practitioners, and I think a succinct opinion often is the result of clearer thinking. So I know it's not so easy to do that, but that's what I'm going to try to do.
Good for you. I notice you have you've participated in Division 3 a while ago, having the research attorneys appear at the conferences. What do you think, Ken? One of my colleagues is here. That's quite interesting. Are you going to maybe suggest that to your colleagues?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is just
Well,
go and
get
listen.
the lay of the land, right?
And, but
Don't come on too strong, right?
But Presiding Justice Zukin has already instituted this every other month where the research attorneys come and present a case, and I sat in on one of those, and I think that's wonderful. I love the way we did it in Division 3 when I was there, and I think it showed humility by the justices, and there's a free flow of ideas, and I really like that culture. So, if asked, I will encourage participation of research attorneys in conferences. I mean, you have to do it smart, but I think it's a great idea.
I have one last question. Sorry to ask so many questions, but you're going to be a colleague. I noticed that you're interested in the arts. Your wife's a classical pianist. And you're interested in the arts and culture. To what extent do you think that might inform the way you handled your cases and the way you analyze legal issues, if at all?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a direct line, but I think studying art and humanities gives you insight into the human condition. It helps you understand what makes people tick. Law governs human behavior, and art and humanities is a great foundation for the study of law, for the practice of law, for being a judge. So there's no direct line, but it's a great foundation in my view.
That's a very impressive background, and I'm compelled to also compliment the governor and Luis Cespedes for the great work they're doing in presenting candidates of your caliber. Thank you.
Thank you, Presiding Justice Gilbert. And Judge Tamzarian, thank you for being here with us today. I wanted to thank you for your submission as well. One of the questions that is asked of the applicants is to describe the professional accomplishment that they're the most proud of. You mentioned during that process that you're most proud of promoting public trust and confidence in the judicial system. And you talk specifically about your work with self-represented litigants and with prospective jurors and jurors. So I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about that story that you presented in your submission about how you promote public trust and confidence, and then also how you intend to do so on the appellate court.
I'm not sure which, if you're referring to the juror who wrote a letter or the litigant.
The juror who wrote a letter, or both, but I guess more importantly, there are examples of how you've promoted public trust and confidence in the past.
Yeah.
If you could speak to why you believe that's so important and how you intend to do that in the future.
One of the best moments I had on the bench came after a domestic violence restraining order hearing, and I issued a restraining order against the respondent. And after the hearing, the respondent thanked me, and I thought, why is this guy thanking me? I just issued a restraining order against him, and I asked him, I said, why, thank you for thanking me. Well, why are you thanking me? And he said, you know, you listened to my story. You treated me with respect. I don't always do my job so well, but that was a great day because he is more likely now to comply with the restraining order if he feels like he was given an opportunity to be heard. So, I mean, I think that same, it's not quite as direct, but, at the Court of Appeal, I think it's important for the justices to have patience with young lawyers or self-represented litigants and at oral argument, and also in writing the opinions. That's the balance between the long opinion and the short opinion. You really want to make people feel that they were heard, that you really consider their arguments, and that will foster respect for the system. And I hope I answered the question.
You did. Thank you for your response. This completes the list of witnesses who are testifying here today. Are the members of the commission prepared to vote?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor of confirming Judge Armen Tamzarian for this position, please say aye.
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 On this record and the correspondence received, the commission finds Justice Tamzarian qualified to be an Associate Justice of the Second District Court of Appeal, Division 4, and confirms his appointment. Congratulations, Justice Tamzarian. Rounds of applause, so I wanted to give you an adequate opportunity to do that. The formal portion of the hearing is now adjourned. Justice Tamzarian has asked me to administer his oath of office. The commission has prepared the paperwork and completed it remotely. And so, Justice Tamzarian, we can administer the oath as soon as you're ready.
Or do I look this way?
Yes, can you see me?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you see me? Am I facing the
I
right
can
way?
see you. Yes, you can face whatever way, as long as you say the following words.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. Please repeat after me. I, Armen Tamzarian,
I, Armen Tamzarian,
do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
This concludes our corporate hearing. I welcome Justice Tamzarian to say a few words.
Can I say a few words?
Yes,
You can say more than a few.
yes. You don't have to be succinct for this.
stage.
Okay.
Just turn on the mic.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to all the friends and colleagues, especially Anthony Ragazzino, who came all the way from New York. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank Governor Newsom, Secretary Cespedes, Chief Justice Guerrero, Presiding Justice Gilbert, Attorney General Bonta, members of the Jenny Commission, for having confidence in me and for giving me this incredible opportunity to serve the people of the state of California. I want to thank members of the Armenian Bar Association for all your support, especially Lucy Varpetyan. I'm proud to say that I've been affiliated with the association for more than 30 years. I want to thank my wife and life partner, Arpi. I love you and would not be here without you. I'm sorry my daughter and my sister couldn't be here today. They're very important in my life as well. And most of all, I want to thank my late parents. I'm sorry they couldn't be here, Zohrab and Arpine. They immigrated to this country with 2 little kids, $100 and the American dream. They were the hardest working people I have known. They were the most selfless people I have known. There was never a doubt in my mind or my sister Tallien's mind that our happiness and well-being was far, far more important to them than their own. My parents revered education and learning. They were kind and loving people. They had integrity. They were honorable. And this day belongs to them. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations. This concludes COJA hearing. The commission is in recess until the next one. Thank you.